All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim her pushing his gospel in truth and in sincerity, to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shalom, willing for upon 8 houses. So Brother Quanah Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with edifying lesson. Through the spirit and power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Lord will, it is edifying. Lord will, it is straight to the point. And it's going to be a quick hit, man. It's ultimately, it's meditating on, the message that's been going out. I had seen, Elder Yashawamba right from the Dallas camp, as well as Elder Ariala, from the same camp, right, the Dallas camp, as well as the Elder Itazawam, from the Atlanta camp, the head of the Atlanta camp, right, and those, those elders were ultimately touching on, mental health, man, and just maintaining, right, in this thing, man, right, that we're, supposed to be keeping the main thing, right, which is, serving Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai to the best of our ability, being watchmen, and being in the scriptures, and just, again, right, presenting our bodies a living sacrifice, but that can get, taxing, right? It can get overwhelming at times, constantly, looking, for prophecy and whatnot, right? And that ultimately came to my mind, right? We got to have a balance, right, in this thing, man, right? We got to have a balance in this thing, right? And that, brought me to this precept right here, Proverbs 11:1. It says, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. So, if you're leaning, too far left, right, or too far right, and just giving you an example, right, on like a teeter-totter or something like that, well, guess what? One side is going to go up, one side's going to go down, and the Lord doesn't, is not with that, right? When you're standing in the middle, right, and you kind of got a foot on both sides, right, and it's flat, that's what the Lord wants, just to put it in, terms, right, to be understood, right? When you're on that teeter-totter, man, you got to stand in the middle, right? You can't stand on one side or the other, right? You got to have that perfect balance, especially in this ministry, right? Again, we're constantly looking for prophecy. We're constantly looking at, judgment, going out. We're seeing what Esau Edom is going to do, and all those things, right, can ultimately, bring you down, So again, just as we're supposed to keep the main thing, right? We still have to have, a balance in this ministry, man. And I want to grab this in Sirach, the 14th chapter. I think it's the 14th verse. It says, defraud not thyself of the good day, and let not the part of a good desire overpass thee. So, brothers got, hobbies, man, right? Brothers got, things that they like to do. I personally, I like to fish, it's, ultimately gets me out into nature, gets me around some water, man. I love being in the water, and it's peaceful, as we're, in the city going to work and doing what we got to do, as well as on top of, trying to serve Yahweh Shem Shai to the best of our ability, right? We gotta, in a sense, right, man, I must, just be open with it, man. We gotta treat ourselves, man. Go out and do your hobbies, man. Go out and, if Yahweh Shem Shai has allowed you to, build, stack up some bread, get yourself something, man. Go out, go on a, date night, you and your woman or whatnot, or go out by yourself, man, and, just get away, do what you got to do, man, so that you're not going stir crazy, in these, I call them prisons, right? Apartment or house, or, especially out here in Arizona, it'd be so hot, right? You can't really go outside and play outside. You can't really go and, so you're kind of trapped inside, you're trapped inside, right? Again, you gotta, have to go someplace, right? You can go up north, right, a few hours away, and it's a lot cooler, but that's a few hour drive. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes, you're kind of just stuck, right? But whenever you can, hey, get out, man. Go into nature, you know. And Ariyalu was saying that, man. Take your shoes off, man. Put your feet in the dirt. Go hiking, man. Get some exercise, man. Get out in nature. Because again, you being in this concrete fucking jungle where you're losing all those positive ions. You're losing, all the health benefits of being out in nature. And that shit can play on you, man. Hard, right? It can weigh you down. So you got to keep it balanced, man, right? And that's one way to do that, right? Is to escape, right, from this prison system, man, and try to get some type of solace. Now, our solace, right, our true solace, our true comfort, right, comes from the scriptures, right? As we read in Wisdom of Solomon, was it 8 and 9? It says, therefore I purpose, and this is, Solomon, right, speaking, right, on wisdom. Right? It says, therefore I purpose to take her unto me, or take her to me, to live with me, knowing that she would be a counselor of good things and a comfort in cares and griefs. In grief, right? So first and foremost, right, our comfort, right, comes from the scriptures, right? Comes from the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, which are better for us than any kind of, vegetable or any kind of, fruit, which we read that in Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 26, right? It's not just the fruits and fruit and meat and whatnot that nourisheth us, but it's the words of Yahweh Shemel Shai, that heals us, that comforts us, So again, right, keep the main thing, right? We get Yahweh Shemel Shai, serving Yahweh Shemel Shai, but understand, right, that there's supposed to be a balance to this thing, man. We have to keep it balanced. We have to keep it 50-50, if you will, man. Most of our time, we're out in the world, we're doing what we got to do, and we're, paying bills and dealing with, coworkers and our family and whatnot, and that shit can get real fucking vexing, and when you're constantly, looking at judgment, you're not necessarily looking at anything that's, would be considered, positive. It can weigh on your mind, man. And first, like I said, first and foremost, we go straight to the scriptures. But even then, right, pair it with going out, man. Pair it with doing something that you like to do, right? A hobby, if you got one, or if you don't, go play some basketball, go swimming, right? Swim some laps, go to the beach, right? If the Lord allows, man, take a trip. If you can, right? We just read it, right? Defraud not thyself of a good day, man. So go and do what you can, before shit comes to the point where we're not able to do anything, anything, right? Because we understand that Esau is going to come down having great wrath, and he's going to, fully force, the people into a situation where they're going to have to take the charagma, and Lord will, right, we remain faithful unto the end, and we're not going to take it. So we might have to be pilgrims or thrown into FEMA camps or however it may be, So we're approaching those times quickly, So just take the time, right, to be balanced, within this walk, within this ministry, man, right, and it's very, very, very important. Do what you can, You like trying new foods, man? Take your woman out on a date, right? Or you go try it, right? Hey, hit up a brother, hey, man. You trying to go try this new spot, man, so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with that shit, man. There ain't nothing wrong with it. We're not robots, man. Right? We still in this flesh, we still human beings. And all these things will help us in the spirit, man. Right? To help de-stress us, help take our mind off of things, man. Because this shit can get vexing, man. Straight up. But I just kind of, I just wanted to hit this through the spirit, man. I didn't really have anything planned. I kind of was just meditating on that, what's been going out through the spirit, man. I just want to kind of, put my 2 cents in there, man. Make sure you, are balanced in this thing, man. Otherwise, you can ultimately bug out, and that's not, especially in the times we're in now, but really never, right? You don't ever want to bug out, man, But that's all I got, man. Lord will is edifying. Lord will straight to the point of all praise. Yahweh Bashim, Yahshua Bashim, Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles. To the next time I say shalom.